What's up, fellow eBay sellers? Welcome to today's video where we're going to talk about the decrease in sales that a lot of people have been seeing this week, why it's happening, what's going on, what we know and don't know about it. And at the end, I'll talk about my sales, where they've been, and what I'm going to do about it. So just to recap what's been going on, today is Thursday, the 26th of April. Early last calendar week, some of my friends were coming out saying, I've seen a decrease in sales. And, it was just a couple of people here and there. My sales were fine, so I didn't think much about it. That happens from time to time, a decrease in sales, and it goes back up. But then on Friday, I think it was the 20th of April, in the afternoon, I started to see my sales start to slow down. And definitely on Saturday, I saw my sales slow down even more. And I started talking to a lot of people, and a lot of people seeing the same pattern. A really slow day on the 21st of April. 22nd was the same thing, a very slow day. So a lot of us are trying to figure out what is going on here. And I'll tell you what I do know. I've done a lot of research on this, talked to a lot of people, called eBay about 100 times, asking them questions about this. And so this is what I do know about the situation. First thing is that I do know it's impacting all kinds of sellers. I've talked to a lot of drop shippers. I've talked to people who buy stuff from thrift stores and then resell them on eBay, and even some wholesalers who are all saying the same thing. I'm seeing a big dip in sales since Friday night or Saturday. The second thing I've noticed is that it doesn't matter if you are a top-rated seller or not. eBay recently said they're making a change. They're going to prioritize more top-rated sellers. So I thought maybe they started to do it already and started to rank those people higher. But from what I've heard, speaking to people who are top-rated seller, and actually I've scanned people's accounts who are top-rated sellers, and I haven't seen that their sales are doing better than mine. I've seen that their sales have also gone down during this time period. The third thing I know is that it doesn't matter what source you're listing from. So I see people listing from Amazon, Walmart, Home Depot, Kmart. All of them have seen a dip in sales regardless of the source. The fourth thing I've noticed is that the price doesn't matter. I see people who sell their items almost at a break-even point and just get money on cash back. And they're ranking on like the second or third page when there's people who have items, the same items for sale with the same or similar titles for a higher price being listed on the first page. And if you think about that, that makes absolutely no sense. Why would somebody with a similar title for the same product but's more expensive, they should be ranked later. But these people are being ranked on the first page. So it really makes no sense why that's happening. And it seems like price doesn't really pay too much into factor these past couple of days when traditionally it should, and it always has before. The fifth thing I've noticed about this past week is that feedback doesn't matter. It's not discriminating against people with bad feedback or even subpar feedback. Myself, I have very good feedback. I've seen other stores that I've scanned with very good feedback and they've seen dip in sales. And there are people that are ranked higher than me for products that I'm selling cheaper, that I have very similar, if not the same title as them, and their feedback is worse than mine. So they should not be ranked higher than me, but they are. And along the same lines, this new change isn't discriminating based on defects on accounts. My account has no defects, and yet it's still being affected by this whatever change is that's going on. Now, I do know that eBay is making some big changes right now to their cataloging system because they are moving into a more product catalog-based system like Amazon is, but that's slowly being rolled out. Right now, it's only affecting a very few number of categories. I know one of the items in this category is any Amazon product, like a Kindle, for instance. It's nothing, I've checked the categories, it's nothing I'm selling or a lot of other drop shippers are selling. So that shouldn't be affecting us yet. I would imagine it would make sense if down the line, as they add more items to that catalog, if we saw a change in sales, then I would believe that's the reason for it. But it doesn't make sense for it to be happening now like this. Some other random things I looked into is that eBay's quarter one report just came out. their sales for the first quarter. Everything was on track for them. They didn't have any surprises. It wasn't like they had a really bad first quarter and now they're trying to mix things up in order to make up for it. No, their sales were exactly what they expected for quarter one. And the other random thing I noticed was that today they ran a flash sale, and they used to not do this very often, these flash sales, which is basically like a site-wide sale that they have, like 15% off. They used to rarely do it, but they've been amping it up and doing a lot more of those, and they just did another one today. And usually when one of those happens, all of us see a huge increase in sales. And today, that just didn't happen, which makes it even more unusual. So that's everything that I do know about the situation. And based on all of that, one of the other things is that I've called eBay several times, asking them what's going on. And I always get a representative who says nothing. They look at my account and they blame it on one thing or another, or they blame it on saying that's a seasonality thing. But that just can't be true. I know that we can reasonably assume that this isn't just a seasonal dip because the dip happened too quickly and too suddenly. If it had been a slow decline, that might make sense. But this happened too quickly and too suddenly to just be a seasonal, just being affected by a change in seasons. Also, most of the products I sell aren't really seasonal. They're products that sell all year long. So that doesn't really make too much sense either. So based on all of that, we can kind of assume that eBay changed something and they're not telling us what it is, and they're not even telling their representatives what it is. It's something they're keeping secret. For all we know, they went in and they're making changes to their cataloging system and they messed something up and don't even realize it. But this is going to make a lot of sellers very upset because they've been doing eBay one way, that they've been playing the game correctly for years, and now eBay makes a change, not really telling us what's going on, and we don't even know how to play the game anymore. So I think it's going to make a lot of sellers upset unless eBay fixes it and brings things back to the way they were. Now, there are a lot of rumors going around about what's going on. One of the rumors I heard is that on the 19th, April 19th, which was on a Thursday, so kind of like the day before this started happening, eBay made some changes to some of their categories, and that might have affected sales. I don't know if that's true, and I do know that some people saw their sales being lowered before the 19th. So I don't know if that could be true. Again, that's just a rumor I heard. I've also heard some rumors that while a lot of people's sales have gone down, some people's sales have gone way up since then. Now, I've only heard that a friend of a friend of a friend this has happened to. I haven't talked to anyone directly who has seen an increase in sales. If this is happening to somebody, I would love to talk to you, but I completely understand if you don't want to tell us what you're doing right. But I would like to at least know that some people are getting the sales. Obviously, someone must be getting the sales because the sales have to be going to someone else if they're not coming to us, right? And the last thing that I've heard is that every few years, eBay just does this. They make some change and it messes up the algorithm, or they try to change, they try to experiment with some stuff, and there's a huge dip in sales. But after a couple of weeks or even a couple of days or a few days, those sales go back and everything goes back to the way it was. So what's happening with my account? Like many other people, I have seen a dip in sales. Worse was Saturday. That was the 21st. I saw about a 50% dip in sales. Sunday was a little bit better. Every day is like a little bit better since then. Overall though, looking at the big picture, things aren't really that bad for me. I'm still making more money on eBay than I am at my full-time job. And based on that, it's actually pretty nice to know that even when things are at the worst they've been for me in a really long time, they're still really good and it's still pretty sustainable, or really sustainable for me. So that I'm happy with, I guess, is a silver lining here. So for now, what I'm gonna do is nothing. And that's really hard for me to do. I want to take action. I want to learn what's going on and experiment with different things to see if they affect my sales. But I think the smarter thing to do is to wait a little bit and see if eBay corrects the course and brings things back to the way they were. So if I make too many changes and then eBay brings it back to the way it was, then I'll have to switch my store back to the way it was again. I think the smarter thing is just to keep doing what I'm doing, what I've been doing for over a year. That's been working very consistently for me, and just wait and see, at least for a little bit, what happens on eBay. And then if in another week or so things don't change, then I'm going to start experimenting to see how I can get the sales back up to where they were. Now, of course, take you guys along with me as I do that and do the experiments to let you guys know what I'm doing, so we can all learn through this together and help each other figure out what's going on eBay. So if you guys have any theories of your own or any insights about why this might be happening, make sure to leave them in the comments of this video. I'm really eager to hear what other people have to say about it, what other people are discovering, how this is affecting other people's sales. I would love to hear from you as well about that. And if you found some value out of this, make sure to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you want updates on what's happening in real time as I create videos about them. Otherwise, guys, thanks so much for watching the video, and I'll see you guys next time.